Heel. Please. Sit. Good girl. Good girl. Beautiful people. Beautiful people. Good day. So as you can see, we have Leia, this beautiful black German Shepherd. Come. Please. Sit. Oh, I messed up. Hey, 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 hey. Yes, sit. What I want to talk to you guys about, right, is what I call compound training, right? I believe some people may call it stimulus pairing. I could be wrong. I don't really keep up with all the smart people terms in the dog world because what tends to happen is a lot of people come up with these terms to try to distinguish themselves from every other trainer. And what I've learned is you get a lot of people that sound real smart, but don't really know nothing. And this is not to any particular trainer. I'm just saying in general. I'm just saying what I see in the dog world in general. We come up with all these smart terms to make ourselves sound so distinguished, right? Which is nothing wrong with using your vocabulary, right? But if it's a bunch of hot air, right, then it really means nothing. It's a bunch of empty words, a bunch of word salad, right? So we got a lot of word salad in the dog world, but that's not why I wanted to do this video. That was just a little rant, so excuse me. What we're doing right now with Leia is what I call compound training, right? And what compound training is, I use multiple different senses, right? You have 5, you have sight, sound, touch, smell, hear. Sight, sound, touch, smell, hear, right? Hearing, right? So typically when I'm training a dog, at minimum, I'm using 3 of the 5 senses, right? I'm using hearing, I'm using sight, right? And I'm using verbal, right? So hearing, visual, verbal, right? Those are typically the 3 that I'm using, right? But also I would throw in feeling, right? Or touch, right? Or what I call tactile communication. Tactile communication is when I use the leash or some form of pressure, right? Some form of physical pressure to communicate with the dog what I want it to do. Leia, come, 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 come. Place, sit, right? So you got sight. Now you actually have smell because she smells the food in my hand. And then you also have visual because she's following the cues of my hand, right? We call this luring in the dog world. Now we're going to use tactile along with visual, along with verbal, along with smell, and then I'm going to use taste. I'm going to use all 5, right? Yes, good girl. That's a good girl. Yes. Now the reason why I used all 5 just now on the down is because she's still learning the down, right? And anytime I'm teaching a dog, right? Here's the thing about compound training, what a lot of people don't understand. Specifically when it comes to leash pressure, right? Now you can use leash pressure in a couple of different ways. You can use it as a positive reinforcer. You can also use it as a negative reinforcer, right? When you're using it as a positive reinforcer, normally you are pairing it with some form of high value reward for the dog, right? So what happens is when you're pairing that leash pressure, right? Some people may use the e-collar. It's the same concept. The e-collar and your leash, it's literally the same thing. The e-collar is just a cell phone compared to a landline phone, right? A leash is a landline phone. A cell phone is wireless, right? They do the same thing, just the e-collar gives you more flexibility, right? Leia, yes, good girl. Sit. That's a good girl, yes. Now, I personally don't really use the e-collar like that, right? Because unfortunately, there's so much negative negative energy around the e-collar. I try to stay away from tools where I have to explain why it's good and then try to use it, right? Especially with a lot of dogs like her that already have very high opposition reflex, right? So tools like that, I typically stay away from because I don't want the dog to. It's so easy for a dog like her to. What's the word I'm looking for? It's so easy, Leia. Leia, hey. Yes, come. Please. Sit. Yes, good girl. It's so easy for a dog like her to associate the e-collar negative reinforcement with the leash to a negative experience because she's already, based on her genetics, she already experiences the world negative, right? So this is where being what a lot of people will call a balanced trainer comes in, right? I don't really use the term balanced trainer. I just use the term, I just like to think that you have to use discernment, which I think a lot of trainers are lacking, which is why you get so many trainers go so far into one style of training because they don't have the discernment to be able to switch back and forth depending on what the dog needs, right? And then you get some trainers that only train a specific type of dog because they don't have the capability to use discernment to be able to train the other type of dog, right? So for me, because I train so many different types of dogs, right, I have to be able to maneuver back and forth between the different techniques, right? So that way I can serve that dog properly. Now, this girl here, right, when we first got her, I promise you, I guarantee you, this freedom that she has here, she would have been in the next city over, right? She is definitely, when she gets scared, she is gone. No question about it.
Ray 199 said hi.
Peace. I appreciate you tuning in, right? But as you can see now, we've built a level of trust and understanding and communication to where she doesn't want to go anywhere. She wants to be right here next to me, right? Now, what we're doing with this girl, obviously we're building confidence, right? And we're working on basic obedience. Now you have a stimulus coming in, right? So we're just gonna step on the leash. That way, if she gets scared, she can't just dart out, right? Because obviously we don't want her to get hit by a car. But I don't know what this is going to entice her to do. I don't know if she's gonna get scared of it, right? Which she's doing pretty good. Good girl, Leia. That's a good girl. That's a good girl, right? I promise you in the beginning, she would have ran from that, right? She would have ran from that. There's no doubt in my mind, right? She would have tucked her tail and tried to get as far away from that as she possibly could, right? So,
Ray 199 said, "You are number one. You are the GOAT."
I appreciate that. Much love. Much love. So yeah, so basically what we're doing with this girl is, although I'm still using leash pressure, I'm pairing it with a high value reward. That way she associates the leash pressure with something positive and not something negative, right? So that way I can still use the leash pressure as a tool of correction. But when I use it, right, she's going to associate that with something positive, as opposed to most people, which I do also, right? I do use leash pressure as a negative reinforcer, right? Onyx, leave it, right? So I do use leash. Onyx, hey, no. Dogs, man. They always want to be rude when you're trying to do a video, all right? So I do use negative reinforcer. I do use leash pressure as a negative reinforcer, but that's depending on the dog. Some dogs don't respond to that. They just don't. And this is where leash pressure, a lot of people in the dog world are going to call it yank and crank. Some people are going to call it compulsion, right? This is where techniques like that get a bad name because people misuse the technique, right? And then you get people like Zach George, right? And I'm only saying his name because he is the face of positive only training, right? And there's nothing wrong with positive reinforcement. Obviously, I'm using it, right? But to say that you can train every dog one type of way You are insane. It just doesn't work like that. There's nothing in the world that only learns from one type of style of training. Nothing. Humans don't learn like that. Bears don't learn like that. There's no living being in the world that only uses or only learns from one style of training. It just doesn't work. This is why you will never see Zach George with an extreme case of an aggressive dog, right? You will never see Zach George with a dog that has an extreme case of fear anxiety, right? Because those dogs, there's not a treat in the world that they're going to take when their field drive is higher than their food drive, right? It just doesn't work. So then you have to tap into other techniques, right, to help bring that dog out and build that dog up, right? So what we're doing with this girl, because she has such a high food drive, right, I'm going to use that to my advantage, right? And that's all we're doing. And really, I'm using that technique, right? Because I only have a certain amount of time with the dog, so I have to utilize the tools that work the best and the fastest, right? Whereas to my personal dogs, I don't really have to use a whole lot of treats. I can take my time. Now, there's going to be some moments where I will use those treats, right? But I don't have to use as much because I'm not in a rush with my personal dogs. With dogs that I'm training for other people, I only have 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks, right? So because I have such a short period of time, I have to become more efficient in that time, right? Which actually makes you a better trainer, in my personal opinion, right? So right now, I know a lot of people have seen luring before, right? But what I want you to pay attention to with the luring is when the reward comes, right? This is how you begin to get more out of a dog using the same treat, right? And this is where a lot of people that aren't trainers, right, that are just owners of dogs, this is where they don't know how to transition their dog from being bribed with a treat to being obedient or being obedient, right? And they get a reward because they're obedient, right? So I'm just gonna kind of take you through the routine. I'm gonna talk through how I keep the dog's engagement, right? By using those 5 senses, and the timing of the reward depending on what it is that I'm looking to get out of the dog in the moment, right? So she's not paying attention. I'm just gonna call her name. Leia. Yes, good girl. Come. So right now, I'm just getting her moving, right? I'm just getting her at right here. Yes, good girl. Place. Sit. Right? So now the tactile communication is gonna come in, right? Down. Girl, yes. Right there. Good girl. So now, being that I've used the leash as a positive reinforcer, right? Now you can see that opposition reflex kicking in, right? Okay. Yes, good girl. Right? So now this is where I am going to begin to expect more for the same treat, right? So what I'm going to ask her to do when I ask her to go down, I want her to stay in that down. Onyx, leave it. Hey, leave it. So I'm going to ask her to stay in the down as opposed to before, right? She popped right up out of the down, right? So now this is where I'm going to begin to squeeze a little bit harder, get a little bit more milk out of the udder without using more stimulus, right? So let's do it. Sit. Hey. Now she comes up. If she comes up, she's gonna get corrected. Now. Right here. Yes. So now, as you can see, because she's looking for the treat, I'm taking advantage of that, right? Because her opposition reflex is not kicking in, she's just giving in to it, right? So even though I don't have a treat in my hand, as you can see, she's looking for the treat, right? Down. So I'm going to take advantage of that. And now I'm going to switch from giving her a treat to petting her, right? Now, this is, she gets up, I stop petting, right? Yes, good girl. Now, this is how I begin to build value in me, right? Because she also loves to get praise and affection. Hey, 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 hey. Yes, good girl. No. Yes. Yes. There we go. Right? So you notice as soon as she goes down, the pressure goes away, right? The pressure goes away and she gets affection. Nope. Come here. Come on. Sit. Yes. Down. Yes. Good girl. That's a good girl. So the pressure goes away. And then immediately, as the pressure is going away, the praise and affection is coming in, right? So now this is the moment where I want to give her praise and affection because she's doing what I want her to do. As soon as she gets up, it goes away, right? And the pressure comes back on, right? Now, if she don't respond to this, right? I'm going to give her about 5 to 10 seconds at the most to respond to the leash going up, right? Then I'm going to come in here. Yes, good girl, right? So it's still tactile communication, right? I just took it up another level instead of choking her, which is what a lot of people would do, right? Which is why leash pressure has a bad name. I'm just going to go with an extra layer of stimulus or tactile communication by just applying pressure to her back end. So now I'm not applying so much pressure on the leash to where she starts choking and then it becomes a negative experience, right? So this is where a lot of trainers don't understand that concept. And again, you get people like Zach George that take it all the way extreme to the left because they're trying to avoid this because they don't have the ability to use their discernment, right? To be able to use a tool like this, but understand that the line, right? Or understand when they're crossing the line, right? So, down.
Angelo Santiago said,
That's
I
my guy.
just I just gave my people in the city your number. He needs help with his dog. I told him you the best.
Man, I appreciate you, man, for sure. I appreciate you for sure. Absolutely. That's a good girl. Nope. Hey, 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 hey. Yes, good girl. Down. Yes, good girl. So this is where, again, right, the timing of the reward is very important. The timing. When the dog is doing a behavior that you like, that's when the praise and affection and the treats come in. When the dog isn't doing something you like getting up, it immediately goes away, right? And that's when the correction, holding the dog accountable, comes in. Hey, 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 yes, down. Good girl, right? So this is when you reward dogs, when they're doing behaviors that you like, right? So now I'm gonna test her. Nope, down. Now I'm gonna test her. I'm gonna get up. I know she's gonna get up, right? So I'm already prepared to correct her. Nope. I'm already prepared to correct her because I'm predicting that she's going to get up, right? Because we've never done this before. So I'm not expecting her to do something that I have not taught her to do, right? Down. So now my goal. Down. Nope. Down. So now this is where her opposition reflex is kicking in. Hey, hey. Yes. Down. So now, to ease the stress, right? I'll pull out a treat. Ah, down. Hey, down. Yes. Down. Yes. Down. Now, good girl. Nope. Hey, down. Down. Come. Okay, let's break the monotony. Let's break the monotony. Place. Sit. Yes. Down. Yes. Good girl. Sit. Patience, people. You see she got distracted by the guy coming out the house. Right there. Come on. Come on. Right here. Come. Sit. Come on. Right here. Place. Yes. Right there. Yes. Good girl. Right? This is that anxiety that I was telling you about. You see, she hears the guy getting in the car. She just keeps looking back because in her brain, she's thinking, is this guy coming to hurt me? Right? Nobody is coming to hurt you. So this is where environmentals for a dog is great. So this is why I like doing training sessions outside, because there's so many different things that's going to distract her. Then that actually helps us build engagement, right? Because I can't control what I can't control, right? When you train a dog in a controlled environment inside your house where you can control who's coming in, what coming in, the noises and stuff like that, it's a different element of training, right? So I'm actually building this girl up to where I want to take her to Home Depot and do some training there. That's going to be a lot of stimulus, right? But she has to master this first.
Ray 199 said, thank you for all the things that you said.
Oh yeah, much love, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Make sure you share this, man, just so other people can get the information as well. Hey, yes. Down. There you go. Good girl. That's a good girl. Okay. Hey, down. Yes. Down. So all we're working right now, hey, down. All we're working right now is duration, right? There you go. That's a good girl. We just work. Down. 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 See how multiple different, there you go, multiple different forms of communication make the difference. So we were doing the tactile communication, she was fighting against it. I introduced the visual, she went right with it, right? Because the visual was associated with taste and smell, right? So now look what we got, right? So now what I gotta make sure I do in different intervals is reward this good girl. Different intervals is very important. You do it in different intervals because that way the dog cannot predict when the reward is coming. And this is how you wean, right? This is how you fade the lure, right? Good girl, right? And typically I try to do it when I see that she's getting distracted, right? Good girl, yes. Good. Down. Nope. Down. Yes. All right. Down. Down. Yes. I purposely tested her. I don't know if you guys saw that. I purposely tested her to see if she would go down without me using the leash pressure. So all I want to do right now, I want to get about 5 steps away and be able to call her to me without her getting up out of that state. I knew she was going to do it. Sit. Now, sometimes what you can do, sometimes what you can do, right, which I'm going to do, is I'm going to, when I take a step back, I'm going to repeat the command, right? So it's the equivalent of saying stay, right? But I don't use the word stay because in my personal opinion, it's an unnecessary word because when I say down, that means down and that means stay in that down until I ask you to do something else, right? So you don't necessarily need the word stay, right? So all I'm going to tell her to do is down, which means stay, right? So I'm reinforcing the command that I originally gave her without having to use another word for another command, right? Down. Ah! Down. Down. Yes. Down. Leia, come. Right? She started to get up. We'll take that as a win. Sit. Down. Good girl. We'll take that as a win. So look, folks, training is more of an art than it is mechanical, right? It's very easy. Down. It's very easy to do the mechanics of training, right? It's very easy to do the mechanics of training. What's hard is the psychological aspect and the art of it, right? The feeling, right? Because a lot of the time you may come and you have a game plan for a dog, and that dog, right, does something you didn't expect. And if you don't know how to, yes, good girl. If you don't know how to adjust on the fly, nope. If you don't know how to adjust on the fly, then you're gonna have a lot of problems training dogs, right? So, anyway, folks, that's all I wanted to talk to you about today. Obviously, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You can always email me, thestructureK9academy@gmail.com. Obviously, you can leave a comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and comment, for that YouTube algorithm. So that way I can start getting paid for these videos, man.
Angelo had another comment. He said, "You brought this dog a long way from when you picked her up, man. You the truth. They getting a whole new dog back."
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. We still got some work to do. She still got about, I think, 3 weeks with me. So, she's not even halfway done yet, man. But I definitely appreciate you, man. I definitely appreciate you. So, yeah, folks. Until the next video. If you have a bad dog, that's not a dog problem, that's a you problem. And you need to be reaching out to me to help me fix your problem. So until the next video, peace and prosperity. Hey. Yes, sit. Sit. Yes, good girl.